It was a quiet Tuesday morning when a curious visitor at a major natural history museum in the U.S. noticed something odd. The massive dinosaur skeleton towering over the main hall, supposedly a real fossil, had a small tag hidden near the tailbone. It read, "Cast Replica." The visitor posted a photo online. Within hours, it went viral. Millions were asking the same question: are the dinosaur skeletons we see in museums actually fake? The idea sounds almost scandalous. For decades, museums have been trusted institutions where people go to witness history with their own eyes. Seeing the bones of a T-Rex or Triceratops up close is a powerful experience. Children are inspired, adults are awed, and scientists are celebrated. But if those towering bones aren't real, what are we actually looking at? This revelation sparked an online firestorm. Critics accused museums of deception. Some conspiracy theorists claimed it was all part of a global hoax. Dinosaurs never existed. Others felt misled, like they had been watching a theatrical illusion their whole lives. Scientists scrambled to clarify. But behind the outrage lies a deeper, more fascinating truth. Not only are many museum skeletons casts, but the reason why is far more interesting than you might think, and it opens the door to a much bigger story. Dinosaur fossils are not bones in the traditional sense. They're mineralized remains, stone copies of ancient skeletons. Over millions of years, organic material decays and is replaced by minerals. What's left is incredibly rare, fragile, and incomplete. Finding a fully intact skeleton is almost impossible. Even when fossils are uncovered, they often resemble puzzle pieces, scattered and crushed over time. Transporting real fossils is a delicate and dangerous process. A fossilized femur, for example, can weigh hundreds of pounds and break with the slightest vibration. Putting one on public display is a risk most museums cannot afford. The slightest humidity, light exposure, or even vibrations from foot traffic can damage them irreparably. Real fossils can crack, crumble, and even chemically degrade when exposed to air after being buried for millions of years. That's why the vast majority of actual fossils are stored in climate-controlled vaults far from the public eye. Only a few select specimens make it to exhibit halls, and even then, with strict protective measures. It's not about hiding the truth, it's about preserving it for the future. In many ways, real fossils are too precious and too vulnerable to stand in front of millions of visitors every year. Creating a replica dinosaur skeleton is both an art and a science. When fossils are excavated, paleontologists first clean and stabilize them. Then, rubber molds are made of each bone. These molds are filled with durable materials like fiberglass or resin, which are much lighter than stone. The resulting casts are painted and aged to closely match the appearance of the real fossil. But the process doesn't stop there. Fossils are often incomplete. Sometimes only 30% of a skeleton is recovered. Scientists must reconstruct the missing parts based on related species or mirrored bones from the opposite side of the body. For example, if a left femur is found, the right femur is mirrored and cast. This reconstruction process is critical, but also open to interpretation. Once the full cast is complete, it's assembled on a specially engineered steel armature. These frames allow the skeleton to be posed in dynamic ways, like a roaring T-Rex lunging forward or a stegosaurus with its tail raised. Sometimes, small inaccuracies are corrected in the cast, like repositioning bones to reflect new research. What you see isn't just a copy of bones, but a reflection of evolving scientific knowledge and storytelling skill. Most major museums around the world, from the Smithsonian to the Natural History Museum in London, display casts instead of original dinosaur bones. The decision is not about deceiving the public. It's about preservation, accessibility, and education. Original fossils are often locked away in climate-controlled vaults, accessible only to researchers. They're too fragile to endure the wear and tear of public display. By using casts, museums can safely showcase dinosaurs to millions of visitors without putting priceless specimens at risk. Visitors can stand beneath a full-sized sauropod or walk around a towering T-Rex without endangering the real fossils. There's also a practical side. Fossils belong to specific dig sites or are owned by governments, institutions, or private collectors. Transporting them internationally is a legal and logistical nightmare. With casts, museums can share exhibits worldwide, giving people everywhere a chance to marvel at prehistoric giants. Casts also allow for educational modifications. Some include color-coding texture enhancements or interactive touch zones to help children learn. They make science hands-on, exciting, and more engaging than glass cases ever could. Though casts dominate museum halls, some fossils on display are indeed real. Typically, they are smaller, more stable specimens like fossilized skulls, teeth, or claws placed inside protective cases. One of the most famous examples is Sue the T-Rex at the Field Museum in Chicago. Sue is one of the most complete T-Rex skeletons ever found, with over 90% of her bones recovered. Yet even Sue's public display contains many cast parts. Her actual skull, weighing over 600 pounds, is too heavy and fragile to mount on the body. Instead, a cast is used on the main skeleton, while the real skull is displayed separately in a special case. This approach reflects the delicate balance museums must strike, protecting their most valuable specimens while still engaging the public. Real fossils are like ancient manuscripts, too delicate to touch, yet too important to hide. Many exhibits feature real fossil fragments embedded in dioramas or encased in glass, allowing for close-up examination while ensuring preservation. These authentic specimens, even when small, bring a quiet power. They remind us this isn't fantasy. It's evidence carved in stone. The use of replicas has unfortunately fed into various conspiracy theories. Some claim that since museums use cast dinosaurs must be fake. Others argue that paleontology itself is a modern fabrication. These ideas spread rapidly online, fueled by viral videos and sensational claims. But such beliefs collapse under scrutiny. The fossil record is robust and global. Dinosaurs have been discovered on every continent. Their bones are studied by thousands of researchers using rigorous scientific methods. From microscopic bone structures to isotope analysis, the science behind dinosaur fossils is deep and credible. Museums don't hide the fact that they use casts. In fact, most include detailed signage explaining which parts are replicas. The goal isn't to mislead, it's to make ancient life accessible to everyone. Casts let us experience the scale and majesty of prehistoric creatures that would otherwise remain hidden. Spreading doubt about dinosaurs based on the presence of casts is like saying the moon landing was faked because we watched it on a screen. The medium may be modern, but the message is grounded in science and discovery. Museum displays have evolved dramatically over the past century. Early dinosaur skeletons were stiff and awkward based on outdated ideas. For example, the first T-Rex mounts showed the creature dragging its tail like a lizard. Today, displays show T-Rex balanced like a bird with its tail stretched out for balance. This transformation came from decades of fossil discoveries, improved reconstructions, and collaborations between scientists and artists. As technology improved, so did accuracy. CT scanning, 3D printing, and computer modeling have allowed museums to revise displays more quickly and precisely than ever before. Modern exhibits are immersive. Some use digital projections to simulate movement. Others include augmented reality apps that let visitors interact with life-sized dinosaurs through their phones. Fossil casts aren't just static anymore. They're part of a larger evolving experience. Even sound and scent are being added to exhibits to create full sensory environments. Today's museum is not just a gallery, it's a time machine. And casts are the skeleton keys that unlock that journey. This leads to a deeper question. What do we mean by real? If a dinosaur bone has been turned to stone over millions of years, is it still the real bone? If a cast is made from the original using high-fidelity methods, is it fake? In paleontology, authenticity is not about material, it's about accuracy. A scientifically accurate replica can be just as valuable for education and research as the original. In fact, some scientists prefer casts because they can handle and study them without risk. Even museums label casts as real specimens when used in research. A replicated bone that lets you test how a dinosaur moved or bit into prey can reveal more than a cracked original locked in a vault. More importantly, casts help bridge the gap between expert knowledge and public understanding. They spark curiosity, inspire learning, and invite questions. When a child points up at a replica and asks, "Was this real?" the answer in every meaningful way is yes. An entire industry now exists to meet the demand for fossil casts. Companies like Research Casting International and Gaston Design specialize in producing museum-grade replicas for clients around the globe. These teams often include artists, engineers, and paleontologists working together. The process is rigorous. It starts with scanning real fossils or creating molds on site at dig locations. Then casting materials are selected for strength and weight. Some casts even include embedded sensors to detect humidity or stress. Once painted and aged, the bones are indistinguishable from the originals. These companies also help museums recreate extinct environments, designing dioramas with plants, predators, and even ancient weather conditions. The goal isn't just to show a skeleton, but to tell a story. Some even build life-sized models with skin and muscles, breathing life into prehistoric beasts. By collaborating across borders, the cast-making industry spreads science globally. A replica made in Canada might teach a child in Africa about evolution. It's not about replacing fossils, it's about expanding their impact. So are dinosaur skeletons in museums, fake numb. They are carefully crafted representations of real discoveries grounded in science, shaped by creativity and built to inspire. The truth is far from a scandal. It's a testament to human curiosity and our relentless drive to understand the past. Next time you visit a museum, take a closer look, read the labels, ask questions, appreciate the engineering behind the displays, and most importantly, remember that every replica you see stands on the shoulders of real fossil hunters, researchers, and storytellers who've dedicated their lives to unlocking Earth's ancient history. In the end, it doesn't matter whether the bones are stone or fiberglass. What matters is the feeling they leave behind, the awe, the wonder, the curiosity to know more. That's the true legacy of dinosaurs in museums. They're not just fossils. They're time travelers carrying stories across millions of years straight to you.